Good afternoon, teachers. This is Ms. Hobbs, your ILS, and I'm coming to you today with the professional development on the use of ebooks from Follett Shelf. I am taping this for you because I truly believe that this is a valuable resource. And in the case of ebooks, it's a resource that the library services for our district purchases each year a subscription for us, and unless we use it, we lose it. So I am going to help you to be able to access, use properly, and find resources on your online ebooks using Follett Shelf. Anytime that we're looking for a district resource, you can always start from the Aldine Independent School District homepage. So from here, you'll go to Parents, Students, Student Resources, Links to eBooks, and Online Resources. Now, I know that you guys are teachers, but the only way for us to access this is through the student portal. Once you click on the Links to eBooks and Online Resources, all of our digital resources for the district are actually here, and they're divided up into different subcategories so that you're able to easily find what you're looking for. In this case, we'll be looking at the ebooks. You're going to go to the bottom of the ebook section and you will choose Follett Shelf. Just going to take a little second to load that here. Okay, now it's very important for you to log in. From Follett, you're able to check out books, you're able to keep a reading list, and all of those things only save if you are logged in. At the upper right hand corner, you see my cursor is on the login key, so you'll just click that. And your login will be your 5-digit teacher number. If you have zeros before, you do not enter those numbers. Your password will be the word teacher. And I'm just going to log in using my credentials. Make sure that you use your own credentials, and in the event that you are not able to access using your credentials, please come see me in the library. Alright, so here I am on the home page, and there's just a couple of different things I want to make you aware of before we dive into looking at the books. At the top, there is what's called a book bag. When you check out books on ebooks, and what do you mean by check out, Ms. Hobbs? What I mean is that you're able for 2 weeks to check out just as you would if you came into the library. Checking out gives you the ability to bookmark, take notes, gives you the ability to come right back where you left off. You can use highlight. It gives you a bunch of different capabilities that you cannot get if you simply just open the book and begin to read it on the screen. Also, some of these books do not have unlimited copies. Automatically, we assume that just because it's online that everybody can access the book at the same time. Licensing only allows us to have a certain amount of copies for some of these books. So in that case, if you have it checked out, you're able to go ahead and use that resource. So the notebook, we will actually look into that when we open up our example book, but your students usually in class use text connections. They use sticky notes, they use notebook paper in order to make connections within the story. In this notebook, you are able to open it up while you're on a page and write those text connections while reading. It's definitely important since we're using the Readers Writers College this year, where text connections are imperative to the framework. Also, I want you to take a look at the left-hand side where it says narrow by. Although some people come on to the site and know exactly what book they're looking for their students, you might actually be using this during your planning process. And you could use any of the following categories to filter which books pop up for you to use with your students, especially lexile and interest level, reading level, if you're going to be giving them this to read on their own. Another thing I would like to point out is that teachers do have the ability to give the students access. They would use their lunch number and their password would be student. So if you have a book that you're assigning and you cannot find a class copy, a class set of those books, it is often easier for you just to have every student to log in using the Chromebooks that we have in the classrooms, and they can read these books and do the assignment that way rather than trying to hunt down 26, 28 copies of the same chapter book. Alright, so now knowing that, I'm going to use The Girl Who Drank the Moon, which actually is a Bluebonnet book for this year, to kind of give you an idea of how this looks once you open up a book. So I'm going to open it. I want you to also note that while I have my cursor over it, it does give me a summary of that book so that you don't have to open every book if you're not familiar with that title. And you can kind of get a gist of what it's about. The cool thing about Follett Shelf is that it's not a Kindle read. Kindle reads kind of look like, they have the page there, but it doesn't look exactly as if you had the book right in front of you. With Follett Shelf, it looks the same exact way it would look as if you had the pages in front of you. And that kind of gives a little bit more character to the books. You're able to easily navigate using the arrows going from page to page. I also want to point out that in this little display options, the capital and lowercase a, if I were to click on that, I'll be able to zoom in if I need the print to be bigger. I can zoom out if I want it to be smaller. I'm not going to fit to height or fit to width at this moment because it takes a little bit to get back to the home screen and I don't want it to cut off this recording. However, if you would like to just have no distractions, just the print, you're able to fit it to your screen. Another thing is, if you don't want to just have the one page, you do have the option to have 2 pages, just as if you had that book in front of you, open. And also, for the ease on the eyes, as far as how the brightness affects certain students when they're reading, they do have the ability to change the screen color so that they are able to see the book in a different light. Alright, so now that we've done that, you also have a text to speech. Now, this recording will not allow me to record the audio from the book as well as me speaking. However, I do want to let you know that just like when the students are testing, when they have the ability to change the inflection of the voice, whether it be a deep voiced man or a light and airy voiced woman, they have very different styles in these different reading or text-to-speech settings. You're able to choose the voice that would make you most comfortable in reading. Also, this makes it really great when you're wanting to do read-alouds in the case where you're doing like small groups while others are listening to the video. You're able to actually have them sit down and listen and follow along within the story so that you're able to multitask. Alright, so with that being said, this book continues on, and I'm going to zoom out just a little bit here, because I want you to see the whole page. Alright. And let's say, for instance, that as I am going through this story, I read this sentence, "Normally, the day of sacrifice came and went with all the pomp and gravity that it ought." And I want to take a note here about pomp and gravity, because that was something interesting I saw. I want to come back to it later. I can actually take a note in my notebook. Interesting word choice. And I know that the text connections will be much more detailed. I'm just trying to give you an example of how we can put that into the story. So I'm going to put the words, I gave it a title, and now I'm going to, in the bottom, I'm going to say Pump and Gravity. And I'm able to save that. It actually gives me what page number I was on so that it's easy to refer back in the story where I was. And I can easily access my notebook at any time from any different page within the same book. All right. So now that we've explored the book itself, I want to show you how to check out. At the bottom, this gives us a reading list. It actually shows us what books I have recently opened to read. I was also reading another one of our Bluebonnet titles for this year, The Best Man. So it gives me the ability to go back to that book if I started reading it, even if I hadn't checked it out. But it does not give me the ability to bookmark it or go directly back to where I left off at. In the event that I want to check out, it's super easy. I take the book cover, click and drag over to the checkout, and it tells me you've checked out, the title and the date it's due. Wonderful thing about the ebook is that you are able to automatically have it checked back in. No late fees. You don't have to worry about it being lost or simply forgetting to check it back in. It will actually allow itself to check it back in once that date has come. And in this case, I believe it said August 1st. So my book will automatically return to the shelf on that date. If I click on my book bag, it shows all of the books that I have checked out. So if I went through that entire master list and checked out 5 or 6 books, which you can check out multiple books at one time, it will give me the option to come into my book bag and be able to see on a shelf, this is the shelf, all of the titles that I have checked out. If I were to complete this book prior to the 1st, as you can see, it reminds me of my due date on the 1st of August, I am able to simply click this return button and return it easily. Also, for those of you who would like to assign a book and do not want to have the problem of the student having to search for it, when you click on the books, it will actually give you the ability to assign. Just take one moment to load. Assign the book, to the students from your portal. You would have to actually download the app to do so, but in that case, and I'm running out of space on my screen to actually show you because I can't put my phone up there, but basically it'll give you the option to get a code. You can send it out through Google Classrooms. Once you send it out through Google Classrooms, it'll automatically pull up the book that you are attempting to give the students. Alrighty. Trying to do it from the screen, but I've only successfully done it from the app, and we can do that at another time at another staff development. Alright, so with that being said, I want you to notice that these with the infinity symbol actually allow you to check them out infinitely. You can put them on your shelf and you can refer back to them without having to check them back in. I do want to let you know, in case I haven't already, that some of these books only have so many copies available. So if you are attempting to give this as an assignment to students, and you have 60, 70 students, they all may not be able to log in and check these books out. In the event that that happens, you are able to show this on a screen in the front of the class and use this as a master copy in order to broadcast it to the class and you guys can read together because the text will be on the screen. If you have any further questions, feel free to come into the library. But this concludes our professional development on Follett Shelf. I hope to see you using it this year.